Welcome back. We've got Burton from PropStream. His amazing new background. I think season 3 of the podcast is out, right?
That's correct. Well, actually, it's coming out. First week of June would be season 3 launch.
Almost. Almost. I like that. Which, by the way, we need to connect so that I can jump into that one, buddy. So that'll be very fun. That'll be
Yeah,
good.
I definitely love that idea. Yeah, let's definitely connect.
All right, today we've got work faster. No, sorry, don't work faster. Work. Well, we can work faster for sure. Because I read close faster. Work smarter, close faster. Meet PropStream's AI assistant and click to dial. Although I like the idea of working faster, man. Right?
I mean, that's cut time. As they say, time is money. So if we can save some of that, I think that can, at least help you take some time back and focus on other things that
Yeah.
keep the business running.
Family, relationships, right? Or hobbies,
Absolutely.
some things that fill your cup. Where do you want to start with this, Burton?
Yeah, let's start right into the property details where it's actually housed. So, we haven't, this isn't our first rodeo when it comes to our AI. We introduced AI late 2024, and that was in regards to some data sets. We had our photo grading AI. What that did was it allowed our AI to
Yeah.
look at the large
I remember that.
MLS data set that we have. And so, how does that benefit our users? Well, rather than going through, 1,800 MLS listings and those photos, I can say, show me what's on market, head into our filter, and with PropStream intelligence, show me things that are in disrepair or up to average condition, right? So using AI, again, cutting back time, we made sure our users didn't have to go through 30 photos for each property using AI. And our photo grading, you can now cut that down to the 539 that are in disrepair or in average condition. And again, if you want to verify, you have the photos that you can click on and go from there. So here we can see the photos in the average condition house that happens to have some wear and tear on the walls. So rather than, again, you going through these photos, the AI saves time there. So again, this isn't our first rodeo at AI. We introduced this late 2024. Along with the photo grading, we have our foreclosure factor. This actually looks at certain data sets that we have: auction, mortgage data, foreclosure data. What it does is, in every market we're nationwide, by the way, our AI data will look at those data sets and look for behaviors or indicators, is what we typically would call them. And then once we identify those indicators, here's a quick example. Let's say there's 10 pre-foreclosures and 9 of them have an adjustable rate mortgage.
Mhm.
Well, that's an indicator that more than likely in this market, those within adjustable rate mortgage may see themselves heading in this certain direction. It could be high
Mm.
interest rates. It could be certain years of ownership, right? There's tons of different indicators as to why a property can head into pre-foreclosures, but the data's there. You look at the data, you try to find those indicators, and then once you identify those indicators, you then run it across every single property in the neighborhood. And then once you do that, you can tell PropStream, I'm not just looking for a property in disrepair as well as average condition, but go in there, maybe look for someone that's at a medium high or very high foreclosure factor as well, based on those indicators that you've pulled. And now we've narrowed down even further for 500, cut the 90% out down to the 51 addresses that are
Mm.
not only in that condition, but are more than likely heading in a certain direction. So I'm showing this because we didn't just introduce AI out of nowhere. What we did is we have been dabbling with it. We've had it for a while. We're making it
Yeah.
stronger using our data set. And then finally, this is why we're here today, we introduced AI within every single property details itself. So
Damn.
now when you pull up a property, at the
Okay.
bottom right, you have our new PropStream intelligence, and let me expand this just a little bit for our audience to see.
Mhm.
So All right. And what this does is it looks at all the data on the specific property, and then we can do things like, what are my top 6 comps for this property? And I don't have to lift a finger up because AI is now going to run comps for me. And there you have it right there. Here are the top 6
Damn.
most relevant comps. And that's the thing. It understands, hey, you probably still need to go in there and look around. But as you can see, it's just telling me exactly those comps and then key takeaways that I need to understand based on what it's pulled. So the 2 closest bed counts matches 78 and 90 East Gary, and both are 3 bedrooms and priced at 325, suggesting the current estimated is reasonable or slightly above market for 3.2. If again, want to take a look at it for yourself, you can click
Yeah.
and show me the comparables. We'll send you to that page. You can make your adjustments, or you can just ask the AI to do it for you.
So from here, right there, what it gave you, what do we do with that to make it something that we can send out?
Yeah. So, like in this case, what I would probably do first is always verify. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in the 90s, and AI movies were bad back then. So I always grew up with this, hey, let's just double check. What I would probably do is just go off the photos. So this 325/78 East Gary is right over here. You can actually click on that photo and see, if this is a true comp. Because again, for me personally, and I'm not gonna just completely let AI decide for me. Some will, some won't. I'm in the middle part. So what I would do first is just click on these results, just verify them. And once you confirm, okay, that is a renovated property that's sold at the highest value. In that case, there's also number 90. So there's 90 East Gary. We can do the same thing. Take
Mm.
a look at it. If it looks like it's been, cleaned up, renovated, now we can check that one off as well. But as you go through this, again, for me, I would just be on the safe bet and just double check each results, but without spending too much time there. Once you identify what those comps are, this is number
Mhm.
3, I believe, 145. Let's just do this one for the last one, another renovated comp. Now I can check those 3 off, which I'm doing right now. And there's this action button right here. So let me go ahead and put this down real quick so you can
Okay.
see it. The actions button, I
Let me
can
see
click on
that.
that and then do view comp report. What that does is it takes these results that AI helped me with, right? I didn't have to filter for them. I don't even know this market. Where are we at? Fresno? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're Fresno.
I was
I'm in
looking
Orange
at
County,
that earlier. I'm like,
California.
where
So
were we? Got it.
yeah, but again, the point here is you can do this in any market for that
Yeah.
matter. And so now in a few moments with the help of AI, and I was not only able to pull up this property because again we're nationwide, and so he went into this random property in Fresno. But once we did that, oh, and by the way, this was not just any property. This was the one that was in disrepair average condition with a
Mm.
medium foreclosure factor or higher. And not only did we identify that property, using our filtering system, and we went into the details, we asked AI to run us our comps, gave us 6 because that's what I asked for. And
Mhm.
then once we identified at least 3 of them in this case, I was able to generate the report. And here's that report. It's the subject property that we filtered for. And then right here, you can see the comps that we've selected, where they're located on the map compared to our subject property. And then what we'll also do is show the sources of those comps and a little thumbnail of each of those comps. So that way the homeowner can kind of make their comparison if they'd like. So sh- qu- cutting out some time essentially. And that's again, having to do your own filtering, your own research. The AI understands the data already because once you pull up the property, that's what we upload our AI with, everything within this property's details. And then
Mm.
you can ask things like, what are my comps? Is this property in distress? Um, Here's another one I personally like doing. Um, how many properties does this owner have? It's going to look at our data and it's going to tell me whether there's 1, 2. So there's the LLC. It has 5 properties and it will list off in this case, the 4 other properties.
Damn, man. Now, with this AI PropStream intelligence, can I start with that from the very beginning and be like, I'm lost?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you still need to understand that it needs to understand where you're coming from. So if you go in there and just say, I'm lost, it'll probably help to some degree. So I would say probably
It'll be like, good
control
for
that.
you. Sorry, can't help you.
Yeah, yeah, here's GPS. What we would recommend is after you going off these initial prompts from the get-go, every time you pull up a property, we do have some things that you can ask. Some of the most basic questions that we're seeing are things like, is this a good rental investment? What if I put 30%
Mm.
down? Show me the comparables, walk me through the fix and flip numbers, things like that. So I think if you typed in there, I'm lost, it probably would pivot back to that. So I would just say, just have some sort of direction you're trying to take it, ask it the question, and then see what it provides.
Dude, I love that. I love how we can ask it to give us the numbers if they're good rental numbers. Like, hey, are these good? What do you think? Show me what you got.
Yes. So let's do that. Is this a good rental property? And then it's going to go through all the data it sees, the demographic data, the comps. So, what purchase price are you considering?
Whoa.
Let's go off the comparables we just ran. I think it was like an average of 325. So
Yeah.
say we renovated it to make it look like the other ones in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
So let's do 325. Maybe you got it lower, so feel free. Probably lower to the better.
Yeah.
What down payment percentage are you planning to put down? Let's say the average 20%. Your typical convention loan or conventional loan. Let's say 20% down. So it's going to take, again, our data, your inputs. Let's say 6% is where we're going to go with this. All right. All right. 30 years, very specific. Holy moly.
Mm.
I love that. See, it's really taken into account. Actually, this is crazy. This is the first time I've actually taken it to this degree. The market rent estimate's 13.95. Do you want to use that, or do you have? And with this one, you can ask, what are my top 6 rental comps? Or again, we have that data, so feel free to go through the comps. But let's just, for the sake of this, let's say ours is a little better looking, so we'll do 1,400 for
Hmm.
this one. And let's run those numbers. Boom. So purchase price, down payment, interest rate, mortgage term, rent amount, property taxes, vacancy, apply to calculator. And now we can open the calculator. And what it's going to do right now is take us to our new calculators that we have. We have an ROI, a rental ROI calculator, and a fix and flip analyzer. But I don't have to do it manually. AI and I kind of work together here in tandem, and now I can just open and apply, and it's going to apply it to my rental ROI calculator. And there you have it. It's going to let me know based on my overview and input. Feel free to make your adjustments here. What it's going to look like. You can check out your statements.
Mhm. Dude, this is crazy.
Projections. So you can see where it really starts taking off in terms of ROI for you, because it does take into account the potential appreciation of that property as well along the way. And then your cash on cash ROI versus your down payment.
That's beautiful.
And again, if we said 10% down instead, it will tell us what our cash on cash ROI would be if we had a 30% down. Maybe you paid it off in cash. Maybe you inherited the property, just need to renovate
Yeah.
it, get that ROI. And then you could do the same thing, not with just
Actually, I
down
have a
payment,
question for you on that
fix
specific
and flip.
thing.
Yeah,
No, inherited.
inherited.
Is there is there a filter for that?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, that's both
So
sides.
Like if I'm gonna go in and do, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna talk about inherited homes and then send out a sequence of emails saying exactly what we can do. Hey, let me break this down for you. And call me if you need, but I can do this, this, and this. Here's an example.
Yeah, so it would start with doing the search. So let's do, I mean, let's go to Denver. So Denver, Colorado, and maybe you're looking for something that's not on market. But here's where I would start. Really, I would
Shoot.
start with going into owner information, looking
Mhm.
for inherited owner information, and in this section here, towards the very bottom, Tristan, is an interfamily transfer filter. So looking
Mm.
for all of those interfamily transfers. So let's include them. So
Mhm.
start there if you're looking for this particular list. And then I would just add a few other things in terms, and this is all preference, but just a few other things I would say as leverage for you. Like, again, it could have fallen into a corporation instead. So maybe you're not looking for
True.
LLC that it got transferred to. So I'd start with maybe the individual, and then from there, you just got to remember data tells a story. So, okay, I'm looking for an individual who inherited the property. However, for me, and this is a preference that I would probably lean on, make sure it's non-owner occupied. What does that mean? That means that this was just another property in the family. They probably live somewhere else and they inherited it. They don't live
Mm.
in that property, right? Because there are people that have inherited and they moved in, and that's now their new residence or primary residence. So what I'm saying is, I want all the individuals that inherit a property that don't live in that property. And one more layer if you want, vacant. Vacant means, are they answering their mail or not at that location? That
Ooh,
could
I
indicate
love
whether
that.
there's a tenant or completely, no one's there. So I could even say, yes, I'm looking for not just an individual who doesn't live in the property, they inherit it, and they aren't answering their mail. Now, for this particular location in Denver, we're down to one, but
Dude, that's
in this
so
case,
specific.
yeah, it's very granular and you can get there, but I'd probably be realistic and dial back just a little bit, or maybe expand it instead of Denver to maybe a few
Wait,
zip
how many
codes or
how
even a
many is that?
county.
Is that
Right
164
now,
total?
yeah, this is any vacant. So this could be
That's
either they're answering
reasonable,
their
man.
mail or they're answering their mail.
Like,
There's
I'd
about
tackle that.
164.
That doesn't
I
break the
think this
bank.
is I think for a solopreneur, or if you're just starting out, or you're just looking for some extra
Yeah.
leads along the way, outside of your MLS, here's a great list right here. Like you said, 164 off market, very important. They're off market, inherited properties, individuals, and they don't even occupy those properties.
Dude, Christopher's asking, by the way, Christopher, what's up, man? A great addition. He says, "Love the interfamily transfer filter. Team that up with no or low mortgage."
Oh, I love that. So what he's referring to is just pulling up a market, and there's actually a filter for that right at the very beginning. And that's either using our upside down, that's everybody that's upside down. But if you're looking for zero to low, I would lean on our value and equity area here. And what you can do is you can actually just say, I'm looking for those that have maybe no minimum. I don't care if it's negative or not, but max equity amount, let's say no more than 10%. So anybody that has 10% or lower in equity, to what was mentioned in the chat. And then from there, apply the interfamily transfer. So I'm looking for no more than 10% in equity, so 10% and lower. Make sure it's a family transfer. Make sure, again, individual, and other preferences, which I suggested would be also maybe non-owner occupied if you prefer that as well. But I'll leave that up to you. But for this particular one, we came across 28 low equity properties.
Even better, man.
That's a
That's
great suggestion. That's a
great.
really great suggestion there.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
Ho
Another
honestly.
popular one, because again, we can keep going, but another filter that's very popular with family transfers, just had to
Mhm.
throw this one out there, is out of state. Sometimes, the kids move out of the bird's nest. And when I mean move, I'm talking move completely out of the state. So
Yes.
we can do like interfamily transfers to individuals who are out of state. That's our absentee owner location. So you can add that. So right, here you go. We're down to 24 individuals that acquired a property and they don't even live in the same state.
Dude. All right. So now let's say we have this list, okay?
Yeah.
And now we want to take it to the next step, which is click to dial. How would we do that with these?
Awesome. So the first thing you do is highlight them all. In this case, the
Cool.
24, and then go to actions and save it right off the bat. So we're going to go ahead and
Okay.
call this the Nashville, in transfers, family transfers, whatever you want to call it. We'll go ahead and create a new list, and you can skip trace it right away. So do that. Depending on your account, it might actually be part of your package, which means free. So you just build your list, skip trace it for free. If you have the essentials plan, it's 12 cents per address. So take that into account, but you'll skip trace your properties. We can go ahead and do that now. It'll take a few minutes to get your results, but thankfully I have a few results to utilize. Once you skip trace your properties, go ahead and make that payment. So we can call it our Nashville list, place our order. And then once you place your order, you'll head into the contacts area. That's where we house your skip tracing results. So head over there, and then what you're going to do is here in the lower left-hand side, you'll be able to see your results. Now, the trick is once you get your phone numbers and emails, you'll see it hyperlinked. So this is my business line here that I don't really use, but you can click on that and it starts dialing out. So just make sure you have a headset, stable internet. I would actually recommend that you probably plug your computer directly to your modem. That way it doesn't get cut off or anything.
Can
And
you have it dial your phone and call from your phone, or is it gonna always dial from the computer?
it's always going to dial from the computer for now. So
Okay.
this is our first version of that, but yeah, it'll
Couple
dial directly from the desktop.
couple questions. Christopher says, does it also DNC scrub the numbers? Do
Oh,
not call.
absolutely. In the event you do, and editing team, just make sure you blur out any names here. But yes, we will show you the DNC on there as well. And what I like as well, I don't know if I have any results here, but on the left-hand side, it will also show you who's a litigator. That's, I think, equally important as well. So we will tell you the do not call numbers when you get your results.
Wait, you guys
We'll
run
also
it
let you know who's a
against
litigator.
a attorneys as well?
Yeah. Well,
That
not necessarily attorneys, but we have access to that data, and yes, we can tell you who's a litigator and who's not.
that's awesome, man. I didn't know that piece. See, all this stuff every time you always show me something new. Steve wants to know, please explain skip tracing.
Yeah, skip tracing, Steve, what that is we naturally provide you our core data will give you the mailing address and the physical address. So naturally, if you're okay with that, you'll always get the physical address and that mailing address. So if you're a user who just needs that, you're good to go. But with the world today having cell phones and emails, that's what skip tracing can get you. Skip tracing takes the list that you build and save. So that's the first step. Build a list, save that list or an individual property, and then you can skip trace it to get their contact information. And what we're referring to is the cell phones, the landlines, as well as the email. And then what we were just talking a few moments ago was not only can we get you the phone numbers and the emails, but what's important is knowing which of those phone numbers are on the do not call list. Because again, depending on your company policy, those might be numbers you strictly need to stop or need to avoid. And there's also a term called litigator. A litigator is someone that might not appreciate the outbound or the cold call, and they might actually take it much further than just getting upset. And what I mean by that is going down a legal path. So our company will not only provide you the phone numbers and the emails, but we'll let you know which of those numbers again are on the do not call list and which of those individuals are litigators. Oh,
I
just
love
also
that.
to
I love
add, uh, about 30, maybe 60 days ago, we also introduced corporate skip tracing. So if you build a list of LLCs, corporations, or even a trust, we can actually skip trace those and get you contact information as well.
I love that, man. This is good. The whole AI thing that allows me to simplify the process and ask questions so that when I get lost, that I was playing around it on my end, saying, "Hey, does this have a high chance of foreclosing?" And it's like, "Not this one. This is a low risk." I'm like, "Okay,
I
cool." I
like
was
that as well.
playing around with it, so that's very good. Christopher added more to it. Steve, if you want to read that in the chat. Anybody has any questions, please jump in to PropStream. And Burton's always on teaching something. So if you are part of the community, you're going to find him talking about something that relates to PropStream that you can use for your business. So if you're not already on there, sign up. PropStream, easy to find. Probably the leading data provider that provides all of this for you in a simple fashion for you to find and use. I would highly recommend that you test them out. And they have a free trial now as well. So anything you want to add to that, Burton?
No, just thank you for allowing me to show you guys our new AI. Love to get your feedback, but more to come, so look out for that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Everybody, scan that 7-day free trial. Use your phone with the camera, and I'll see you on the other end. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Thanks for the great questions, everybody.